Hey there, welcome to the channel. This is Cafinicus, and today's World of Warships video will feature a game in the Helena, the Tier 7 Tech Tree USN Light Cruiser. The Helena was put in the game when the USN cruiser line was split into the light and heavy branches way back when. Prior to that, the Tier 7 USN cruiser was the Floating Citadel, also known as the Pensacola. This game is on the map New Dawn, and while I am top tier in this game, I don't really feel comfortable in a cruiser right now, with all the dead-eye battleships going around. As a result, I'll rely on the classic USN cruiser island-hugging gameplay of coasting up to an island, whispering sweet nothings, and lighting up the fireworks, as we'll see in a bit. Anyway, let's talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses of the Helena. The Helena has really good firepower, with 15 152mm guns in 5 triple turrets. These fire every 8.5 seconds, so you're certainly capable of putting a lot of shells in the air. The problem with these guns though is the poor range of only 14.6 kilometers, when the other cruisers at this tier have a firing ranges of over 15 kilometers, with the Algerie reaching up to almost 18 kilometers. In addition, there's no way to increase your firing range as you don't have access to the spotted plane consumable in the same way the Shichors does, for example. The base HE penetration is also only 25mm, and even with IFHE you won't be able to penetrate the 32mm armor threshold, which means you have to make a choice in this ship. Either take IFHE and make your ship more effective against equal and lower tier ships, battleships specifically, or not take IFHE to preserve your fire chance. As I only had a 10-point captain at the time, I don't have IFHE, so you'll see a lot of my shells shatter against the targets that I'm shooting at. So here's an example of that island-hugging gameplay I mentioned. I snuggle up to Miss Island over here, using her to make sure that I'm not spotted, and then open up on the enemies who are pushing up. The USN gun arcs are great here, as I can easily fire over the island cover, and the range isn't that far out that it affects my accuracy. Anyway, the Helena also has tools to deal with a variety of situations. Hydro to help spot torpedoes, and both a defensive AA fire consumable and a catapult fighter to ward off air threats. And the Helena is really good at warding off attacking planes. I recently had a game where I took out 52 planes from a Tier 8 Kaga to earn the AA Defense Expert achievement. By the way, I think I make the mistake here of not popping my AA fire consumable, and I do that multiple times in this game. This was one of my first few games that I've played the Helena in randoms, and I think I've mistaken my defensive AA and catapult fighter consumable buttons. Anyway, back to the strengths. The Helena also has really good concealment of only 10.4 kilometers with captain skills and camouflage. But it does have a few weaknesses though, which is its poor armor. This is a light cruiser after all, so you're covered in 16mm armor plating and a 25mm deck, so you're really not going to bounce any large caliber shells being shot your way. So at this point in the game, I think my first island love is coming to an end. The Zara has run away, only to be smacked by our Normandy. Remember cruisers, Deadeye is not your friend. I've also chased the QE away with the fire of my love, so now it's time to move up and see if we can cap the sea cap. I am keeping an eye out in case of enemy planes, but my next goal is to hop over to the island in the middle of the cap and use it for cover. And here we are, sneaking forward, and I do ask my team for assistance so that we can get the cap a lot quicker. I do have the Viribus Unitus pushing up behind me, though this is a pretty slow battleship, but I think between the two of us we should have no troubles getting the cap as there's only a Queen Elizabeth that's running away. So here we are beginning to cap, and that's the island right ahead here that I'm going to use for cover for any of my next shooting opportunities. Hey there, little island. What are you doing this fine afternoon? The green of your trees really brings out the color of your rocky surface. Anyway, we keep our fire on the Queen Elizabeth, who cannot see us, but it looks like somebody else is spotting the Queen Elizabeth, so we are able to take some shots at it. We are also almost done with the cap, and there isn't anybody else around, so we're just going to sit here for a little bit and keep firing. And one thing I did not notice at the time was that the Gneisenau is actually pushing in, and you'll see that I get detected right here. But that's no problem. All we have to do is push up and snuggle a little closer to our island, and everything will be just peachy. And there you go, now we are no longer detected. The Queen Elizabeth did shoot at us, but we were able to dodge the incoming fire. The QE does go dark for a second, so I end up shooting at the Gneisenau, who is slowing down to avoid getting grounded against that island. But as the enemy team starts to push away, it's time to move up, because again, I do have quite poor range and everybody that I'm shooting at is at the maximum reach of my guns. So I do push up here and I do take some shots while I'm out in the open, but that shouldn't be for very long as I am moving up to my next island. So goodbye honey, the Navy calls, so I've got to go, and we're now on to our next island. Yep, the Helena breaks hearts all over the virtual ocean. And I think you're starting to see the pattern here. We move up island by island to keep our guns singing while keeping us safe from the big nasty battleships. And that poor Queen Elizabeth, by the way, as I shoot at her again, and you'll see in just a second here that I light yet another fire. I've lost count of the number of fires that I've lit on that poor battleship. Of course, because I do not have IFHE, the fires are really the primary source of damage for me because a lot of my shells are shattering. But anyway, here comes the problem. The enemy ships have pushed beyond my gun range, so now I have to move up, and when I do that I'm actually pushing out into the open. There is an enemy cruiser, the Emil, who is coming towards me, and once the Emil clears that island up ahead, he is actually going to be lit for the battleships. And so this is where I have to start taking evasive actions, changing my speed and my direction. And also, since the Emil is much more wiggly than a battleship, it becomes harder and harder to hit due to the shelf lifetime of the American cruisers. As you can see, the Emil does avoid a lot of my shells. Of course, I do avoid the return fire from the battleships as well, because I am slowing down, I am changing my speed, I am changing my direction. In addition, because I am bow in and trying to present as small of a target profile against the battleships over here, I can only use 2 of my 5 turrets, which are the front 2 turrets, which makes it a little bit harder to get all my full firepower into action. Also seem to miss the Emil quite a lot here, but I'm backing up, then going forward, trying not to throw off everyone's aim. And as the Emil goes behind the island, because the Gneisenau is behind the other island up ahead, I am once again no longer detected, which means I can push up once again. I am still having a hard time getting damage done on this Emil, but not to worry. We have friends who will be able to finish her out for us. And guess what? It's time to meet our next island, honey. The one over here to my left as I push out. Feels like this is a speed dating game, doesn't it? But anyway, I'm going to push out to this island, and I should be able to use it to shoot at the Congo that's pushing in. At least that's what I had in mind. So I'm going to push up. The 3 battleships here are just out of my range for the moment. But once I move in, I'll be able to angle my guns and use the island for cover as the Congo moves in towards our team here. And there we go. We just saw the shells from the Congo. So I'm just gonna move in behind this island. And once I do that, I'm gonna launch my catapult fighter. And this isn't for any AA support or anything. It's more to provide vision against the battleships that I know are behind this island. So I take a few shots against the Queen Elizabeth, who is at near max range for me. And that's when the Congo pops up. And so I'm now going to start targeting the Congo while hiding behind this new island. Hello, honey. Would you like to make some roast QE with me? How about roast Congo? Unfortunately for me, the enemy carrier does send his planes over to attack my battleships, and that results in me getting spotted. So I'm going to pull back behind this island and try to get back into cover and a little bit further away from those carrier planes. But it looks like the Queen Elizabeth has fired, and that's really the first major bit of damage that I've taken this game. But the Congo goes down, and I'll let you guess what we're going to do next. And if you said move up to the next island, yep, you got it. This is pretty much, I think, the best example of island hopping gameplay that I've had recently. So it feels really like the bread and butter USN cruiser gameplay. And it's really dependent on the map and your familiarity with the positions that can be used in each of these different maps that we have in rotation. But I am going to push up again using this island here for cover against the 2 battleships that I know are moving on the other side of it. And again, the great arcs, I guess you could call them great arcs depending on your point of view, of the USN cruiser guns does allow me to shoot over the island at the Gneisenau. So I'm going to use the spotting provided by our Viribus Unitus and just stay here safely on this side of the island and put out as many shots as I can. I do get yet another fire. I think, did he repair that? No, he actually did not repair that, so that's actually taken. But once again, the enemy carrier does send his attack planes over. And because I am shooting, I do get detected by those attack planes. So again, I'm going to change my speed, change my direction, and hopefully throw off any shells that are coming my way from the Gneisenau. Yep, he has fired, and he slowed down. We do take a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious. So it looks like the Gneisenau is going to come my way, so I'm going to turn around and try to angle away, see if I can farm a little bit more damage here. But we finally take out the win on points as the enemy CV goes down. So let's take a look at the post-game results. We did just over 107,000 damage, hitting 5 ships but getting no kills. Our base XP was only 1600, as this was a lower tier game and we were shooting mostly lower tier targets. We only got 12 fires on our 249 shell hits, so it's a bit disappointing there. But we did have almost 40k fire damage, a lot of that on the Queen Elizabeth, and I believe we ended up giving him the fireproof achievement in this game. So not really a stellar game, but hopefully this showcased some decent use of island cover in live gameplay. For anyone interested, here are the equipment and captain skills I use for this ship. Main armaments mod 1, engine room protection, aiming systems mod 1, and steering gears mod 1. For captain skills, this is with the latest patch. I have gun feeder, priority target, adrenaline rush, and concealment expertise on my 10-point captain. Once I get a higher skill captain, I'll probably get pyrotechnician, superintendent, and IFHE before figuring out if there's anything else worth taking, possibly expert AA marksman or AA gunner, to create an even stronger no-fly zone around your ship. So the Helena, I like the ship, but I think it's very map dependent. If you have a lot of island cover to use, then the Helena can be a monster. However, I think that the latest patch has made life really difficult for cruiser players, as Deadeye has made the improved battleship dispersion a nightmare to deal with. It also feels like Wargaming is trying to make cruisers do less direct damage, with the reduction of fire chance of Pyrotechnician, which was formerly Demolition Expert, and be more of a support class with more or better AA skills. But that's just me. Also, please note, no islands' feelings were hurt during the production of this video, and any similarity between the islands displayed and real islands is purely coincidental. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please feel free to hit the like button or subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And please join me again next week for more World of Warships videos. Thank you for watching and take care.